So welcome to Scrapbook Live. I'm Megan Jacks. Today is April 12th, and so we have a fun layout today from the Creative Memories blog. This blog project was originally published back in December of 2019, so it's hard to believe. It seems like yesterday, but that was, 3 years ago and a whole pandemic before, right? Back when we just didn't know so much. So, but this is from the What a Zoo when it first came out. It initially came out as a theme pack. Remember we had, I don't know, they gave us like 8 or 9 different theme packs, and then they had some really fun projects to put together. So this is from the What a Zoo. They had us on my blog. If you're watching this on Facebook, you'll see the link in the comments. If you are catching this on YouTube later, there'll be a link in the description below so you can go print out. As always, I just copy and paste it from the Creative Memories blog. Be sure to follow the blog, Creative Memories blog. You can also follow my blog if you want to have all of the Scrapbook Live handouts delivered to your inbox. It'll give you the link to the article that you go to my blog. You can download and print those PDFs. So as also on a reminder, there is a hashtag down in the lower right corner of this. If you share within the Scrapbook with Megan group or Scrapbooking with Megan, if you want to use the hashtag, it will help us find all the lovely layouts later for people who want to see all the wonderful examples that you all put together. So again, thank you so much for sharing in those groups. It's really fun to see what you all create, what collections, what tools you use. So I'm going to switch over here to my desktop and we'll get started for today. So this is a pretty straightforward layout. Really the main tool we're going to be using is going to be our trimmer. There are opportunities here if you wanted to use a decorative blade. You can of course add other tools as you need. You can see with the layout itself, it's got the horizontal photos here. It's got the vertical. We've got a it's about 6 by 12. It's a little bit wider than that 6 inches, where we're gonna has that big chunky mat that will be stacking photos with some decorative elements. The What a Zoo theme pack had one of those pieces of paper that has the opposite side has decorative mats and borders and other little title details in there. It was super, super cute. And so that's what they're really accentuating in this layout to do. I am going to be making some adjustments. If you don't want to tilt your photos, you don't have to. But I'm going to be making some adjustments. I am using the Serene Waters collection, which did come with a sheet of paper that has border strips. The opposite side to that is the orange. My pictures are from the Sunset Cruise from the Creative Memories convention this last June. So I'm going to be using the center section of this border. I cut that out already. And then I am using this section here, this blue wavy section, also in that stacked set of photos. The one thing I want to, they give you the measurements for all the pieces here, which are based on using certain decorative elements of the What a Zoo theme pack. However, I am going to be making some adjustments because they use photos that are cut down. The top one is cut down to, it's pretty narrow. It's 2 3/4, and then they come down here with a 3 3/4 inch high, a tall photo. I'm using 4 by 6s. One of the reasons is because I'm going to use a peekaboo pocket to get a couple more photos on there, and also a spot for some journaling. They use a journal box here. I'm going to be putting 2 photos on the side, and I want to make sure that I have room for a little bit of journaling because I have got stories from that Sunset Cruise. I'm not sure if there is anybody else out there who, from Creative Memories, the advisors that were on that cruise. Some fun stories of people I chatted with and all that fun stuff. So to get started with this, I'm going to show you the pictures. Like I said, I've got Tessa and I took some pictures. It was a Platinum Achievers thing for earning so many points. I've got some photos of the lake, Tessa and I together, the boat itself, and then I did grab a sunset. We had a pretty sunset. My cell phone was not being cooperative to take a super beautiful photo of it, but I thought that was nice to be able to see the sun setting on the lake there. We did have beautiful weather. So I'm using the Serene Waters collection. I thought that would work really well. I liked these 2 pieces of paper together. This is kind of this dark bluish green with the netting pattern on it. I had a piece of this lighter tonal, has a little bit of the same bluish color into it. So I'm going to use the dark netting as my background. This piece here I'm going to be using for my my photos, that big mat that we see right here, this big chunky mat. That's what I'm going to use because I looked on here and I thought my photos would work really well. I cut out that sunset and I ended up cutting it at the 6 inches wide. It's the same width as my photos. And how I cut this was, you could either just come in 3 inches on each side. I lined up my sunshine right at 3 inches when I cut it, which meant that the center of my sun is right in the middle of the things. It's going to work out really well. I have a peekaboo pocket here. And I'm going to explain to you really quick why I decided I was going to use the peekaboo pocket. One, I needed more photos, or I wanted space for more photos. I like that we, this kind of just shows the lake itself. It's a pretty expansive, a big lake. I think this was Lake Minnetonka. And so I wanted to show that photo, but I also wanted to include the sunset. Now, one thing I noticed here, having 2 sunsets at the forefront of the photo, I thought this sunset was a little bit distracting compared to here. My sun is more prevalent. It's a little bit more vibrant colors. So I didn't want these 2 sunset photos, 2 sunset elements to compete with each other. So I decided what I would do is I would actually hide the sunset image behind a peekaboo pocket. Then when I flip that peekaboo pocket up, I'm going to hide the decorative element sunset. I've got the reeds here, which I thought, well, maybe that kind of appeals to the lake, right? And now here, my sunset photo can just be by itself. It's showing off the sunset. I'm not competing with this more vibrant sunset artistic piece. So that's why I decided for sure I was going to peekaboo pocket this one to cover up the sunset. You'll open it up and show off the sunset here. So that was the reason I did that. I've got this blue strip. I told you I cut out the other border. I'm going to be using it at the bottom and at the top to kind of bookend, if you can call it bookends, at the top and the bottom, to really just keep those blue tones, the deep blue tones at the top and the bottom. But you'll see here, it's going to be, that's kind of the effect that I'm going with here. So let's go ahead and start cutting some pieces. I have some of the other photos I have cropped down. I'll talk about those in a few minutes. The first thing we're going to do is we've got our background paper. That's step 1. Step 2 is they want us to cut a 6.5 inch by 12 piece of paper that's going to be that chunky background for these stacked photos. So that's what I'm using this lighter piece for. It's going to be 6.5 inches wide. Now you have an opportunity here. Of course, you guys know I love those peekaboo pockets. It's hard to tilt a peekaboo pocket on a page for sure. Absolutely. It's especially the 6 by 12. There's just, it's going to stick out. If you wanted to do the same technique, keep it straight up and down, you can adjust this sizing to be 6 by 12 to go in a peekaboo pocket. And then you can just flip it open back and forth. You would need to make your adjustments for your photos and everything like that to fit on that in that peekaboo pocket, but it's an option. I plan to tilt my photos. I love the look of it, just a subtle tilt. And so I am going to do that for my photos. So I'm not going to worry about using that big peekaboo pocket. I'm just going to use the small one, the 4 by 6. So I need to cut this to 6.5 by 12. It's already obviously 12 inches tall. So I'm going to come in here at 6.5 and trim that. So now what they want us to do is they want us to go ahead and adhere it. They say to adhere it at a slight angle to your background paper. I'm not going to do that yet because I'm going to go ahead, before I do any of the cutting, I am going to go ahead and put all my pieces on so I can dry fit all of my other elements to make sure I get that angle just right. I've got these 2 photos that I want to be able to include. I've got a title I need to put at the top. So it's going to be easier for me just to go ahead and build this column, this big chunky mat with my photos. So I'm gonna just kind of set things over here to the side. Here's my photos. This piece is gonna go in the middle. I'm gonna grab my cutting mat. That's going to let me make sure I get everything put on here in the middle. I'll just be able to come in here and kind of line up my board. This sunset piece is about 2 inches tall. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to use my T-square to just go ahead and line up that border. I want to make sure I put it on there straight. I'll use some repositionable just in case I need to move it around. Once I get this first piece in place, all the other ones should come in nice and easy, right up until I need to put the bottom and the top pieces on, because I don't know what size they're going to be. I am maintaining a little bit of a margin, about a 1/4 inch margin all the way around. So go ahead, making sure I'm lined up. That's what I'm doing here. To put my T-square ruler on here. And then this is going to come in about a 1/4 inch off each edge. I lined it up. My border element here, remember I said, was 2 inches tall. So I lined my T-square ruler up at 5 because that should get me just about right in the middle. It's maybe like a 1/16 inch off, but it's close enough for what I need it to do, and it's on there straight. Now these other pieces, these other photos will get put on here, and they're just going to butt up right against. You can adjust the height of your photos depending on your decorative elements. If you're working in the middle here, maybe you have a border element, you could use a laser cut border, maybe your section is going to be a little smaller, a little bigger. Really anything you want to do there is, you can put it together however you want. So here's just making sure that it kind of goes on here straight. I want to maintain that 1/4 inch margin all the way down. There we go. Now I've got this piece down here, and remember, I need to figure out what I'm going to put in here. Well, I know what I'm putting in there. I don't have to figure that out. I've already got it figured out. I'm actually going to go ahead and cut this to 6 inches. It doesn't need to be any wider than 6 inches. So let me trim this down to 6 inches. And then I need to measure, I'm going to use my ruler, how much space do I have in here? So the total space I'm seeing is right about 1 inch. So what I'm going to do is I need to maintain a 1/4 inch margin at the bottom. So I'm going to cut 2 3/4 inch strips from this piece. So I'm going to come in here and cut off a 1/4 inch or 3/4 inch. And then I'll cut a second one that's 3/4 inch. It's always fun to try to cut these smaller pieces. Now I'm running into the thing where I cannot get this, I will not be able to hold this in place. So I have a couple of options when I've run into that. I could use some repositionable adhesive and just tack that down. You can also use a Post-it note to secure that piece in there, maybe a piece of washi tape. Be careful with anything that has that adhesive. You don't want to worry about pulling up the ink from this side. I can tell you for sure that the Post-it notes won't pull the ink up. I'm going to use Post-it notes. I'm just going to put a couple on here. I probably should make sure it's lined up. You want to make sure it's lined up where you want it. So I needed a 3/4 inch. close it, and then I can go ahead and slice down. So there we have that 3/4 inch piece that should be at the top. So there is my stacked element with the photos. I've got the space for the peekaboo pocket. Go ahead and adhere these. I thought about doing this orange at the top to kind of go with that sunset, but I think I'm just going to stick with the blue. I think the photos are separated just a little, or the elements are separated just a little too much to try to get that fancy with the orange at the top. All right, so there's my stacked element. Now I can see how it's going to fit on here. I am going to have a little bit of a tilt where I'll be cutting off some, and I'll just use my trimmer to cut that off. But now that I've got this figured out, I can see how far do I want to tilt it? Do I want to keep the original layout, kept these two corners fully shown? You can see here, but it's got quite a bit. It definitely has a tilt to it. Now I have 2 additional photos I need to get in here. I need to get a picture of our boat, and I don't mind if the boat definitely gets tucked in behind. That's okay. And then there's a picture of Tessa and I together. I also have a title. I'm going to do my title at the top, where it's just going to say Sunset Cruise. I'm going to matte these photos. I think this is Tahitian blue. I'm trying to remember. I pulled out a bunch of cardstock that went with Serene Waters, and I'm pretty certain this is Tahitian blue, a beautiful dark aqua color. My photos here are 4 inches tall, and they're just shy of 3 3/4. They're about 3 5/8 inch wide. That was about as narrow as I could go with this particular photo. I didn't want to cut too much of Tessa's arm off, and I didn't want to cut off the title, the little thing here they had at the hotel that says what the event that we were getting ready for. So I'm going to make these mats, and I think I'm going to just cut one mat, and I'm going to cut it to, I think I'll just go ahead and cut it 4 inches wide. So I'm deviating off their original size because I've got 2 photos that I'm putting here, and it wasn't gonna work well to peekaboo, because you can see here they tuck one of the photos under. Obviously, when you tuck a photo under something, it's hard, you can't peekaboo it. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead, rather than doing 2 separate mats, I'm gonna do 1 mat. So I will stack these, or put these photos on here, and I'm going to see. It looks like if I cut this to be about 8.5 inches. Yeah, 8.5 inches. That's going to be just the right height to get those 2 photos. Well, my photos are 4 inches tall, right? Well, we'll do this the regular way, and we'll put our photos on here and then cut our paper. So we'll get both of these photos on here. I've got a little bit of a space between the photos to show off that really pretty blue color. And then we'll come in here and trim. And it's at 8.5. This gets tucked in like such. And this is where I'm, figuring out how much tilt do I want. Now, the sunset photos, or my title, I told you I cut out this strip here. So what I did is I cut out the center piece, so the center 6 inches. You can come about 3 inches in off of each side to give you that 6 inches that you need for the middle. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a title, and I was like, well, let me look through the papers and see if I can find some the pretty multicolored paper that I could maybe cut my letters from and have the word sunset be in a pretty pattern paper that has those beautiful colors. Well, what I realized is I was going to have these extra 3-inch chunks off of each side. And I knew the word sunset has 6 letters. I would be able to do SUN off of one section and SET off of the other. And so that's what I did. So I have these really pretty sunset letters that I punched out. These are, well, you guys probably recognize it. I use them all the time. This is a retired, close to my heart sans serif set. However, I believe there is a very similar one. If you go to scrapbook.com, there's some similar sets to sans serif. I just really like it. It's chunky, shows off. So there you can see it says sunset. Now I'm going to have this say cruise underneath. I was going to use a Creative Memories script, white script here. It was going to say sunset cruise. However, I don't have any E's, lowercase E's. So I might have some, and maybe I've misplaced one of my sheets. So I need to double check. I didn't want to open a new pack yet. I do have some script fonts that are the die cuts that I may cut. So I'm going to do something here. It's going to say cruise in a script font. I love to match a sans serif with a script font. So I'll have that say cruise. As I mentioned before, I've got a peekaboo pocket here. So this is what it's going to look like when you first look at the page. I can also come in here. I got to look at my letters. You can see here, I've got a lot of space there at the top, right? The pretty blue sky. I've got the lake. I can probably come in with my stickers and come across here if I really wanted to and put on here Lake Minnetonka. So I'm going to look through. I know I have quite a few of all the uppercase letters. So if I do that, I probably will come in here and say Lake Minnetonka across the top in all alpha caps. So that. Oh, I think if I'm going to do it, I am probably going to do it across the bottom here because I wanted to show you, I was really, really excited about this. I thought it was so perfect. What a great element. I have no idea if this bird actually exists on the lake. We have this aquatic bird. So I'm going to include, I just thought this was so pretty with the sunset. It almost looks like that silhouette of the bird. I need to get him on here just right. And I'm going to have to I need to make a cut, it looks like. I probably should have put him on before I put him on here. Then I could have sliced this before I put my peekaboo pocket and stuff on. But I'm going to include this birdie dude. I think he's awesome. So I'm going to grab, there's a pencil. I need to mark where I'm going to have to cut him. I know he has to be cut here. And I'm trying to decide whether I'm just going to go ahead and slice him off. We'll see. I thought this was perfect. The way he is on here, he looks like a little bit of a silhouette. So there is a second. I don't know that I'm going to use the second. I could come here at the bottom and maybe I'll do that. I have a little bit of this extra bit of border that I could come across the bottom where this boat is and just bring in that second little bit of a decorative element there at the bottom. I think I'll do that, but I'm going to get rid of the swoop. I don't want the swoop in there. I like the reeds coming up. Yeah, so I think it's gonna, yeah, it is, this is a heron. We have them here. We actually have one that lives I say he lives in our neighborhood. We have a blue heron that lives in our neighborhood. It's definitely looks exactly like a blue heron. But I'm not familiar with the birds of Minnesota. And they have, I'm sure, a nice variety of them. So we'll put this on. Such. I'm going to adhere this piece in place. We'll use some regular adhesive. Coming down far enough, I want to give myself that space for the word cruise underneath sunset. I will overlap a little bit. I also want to give myself that space for the decorative border piece here. Now we'll come across the top or get this angled on. And I can tell I'm angled about, this corner comes in at about 1/2 inch or so. I'm a little less than 1/2 inch. So here I'm going to make sure this corner is a little bit less than 1/2 inch. The tip here is angled. I think that looks good. I'm going to remove my sunset letters for now, and I'll come into my trimmer and cut off that corner. You could also use scissors here. And there's that piece. I'm not going to put my sunset back on here until I know what size the script letters are that I'm going to be using. That will let me position everything just right. I don't want to put them too high. I don't want to put them too low. I want to make sure I have plenty of room there. This picture will go on the peekaboo pocket. I have some other additional stickers and whatnot from the collection, the Serene Waters collection, that I will be able to go ahead and use. Maybe I'll have a small cluster over here, something on this side to kind of balance out. I'm going to have a decorative element with the title up here. I've got one down here. I do have the heron here. He blends in a little bit with the sunset, so he doesn't stand out quite as much. So I think I definitely want to have something over here to just kind of give you, your eye movement all around the page. So I'll get that figured out and have everything to show you guys as kind of that final layout. But it came together quickly. I mean, it's only been a 1/2 hour, so that's one of the faster ones. But it helps that there was all straight cuts, really easy to put together. I had obviously some of the stuff already cut. So that's today's Scrapbook Live. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. We'll have a chance to put it together. The Serene Waters collection is beautiful. I see a comment about going on an upcoming cruise. The Serene Waters collection is absolutely beautiful. It works well for, this is lake photos. It does work well. I've used it for quite a few different things, not just, I think I used it for some pool stuff, not just ocean. So when they call it Serene Waters, it definitely covers a lot of water type activities. So for fun things coming up, we have the virtual crop is this week. So we will see on Friday, I believe it's at 5 p.m. Central Time. That's 6 p.m. Eastern, and oh my gosh, 3 p.m. Pacific is when we're going to see all of the layouts drop on the blog. So be sure to watch the Creative Memories blog. If you subscribe to their blog, you'll have those delivered to your inbox. And they do have, I mean, if you guys have been following along with the virtual crop, they will have all 4 of the sketches on one blog post. There'll also be a very handy PDF that has the sketches plus those measurements. That's pretty fantastic. They started doing that in January. So those will be, and you have a couple extra days, I think, that they've been giving us. Was down till Tuesday they've been giving us. Don't quote me on that. Double check their all their rules about and timing if you want to participate in their drawings. And so I'm hoping to be able to do some of those. It's a busy weekend for us with some sporting events, but it shouldn't be too bad. So I'm hoping to be able to jump in there and do some of the layouts just like I did last time. We also this Friday should have a preview Friday, meaning I'll know what's coming for next week for Creative Memories. It's mid-month, so maybe there's a promo, maybe there's some new products. I don't know. We'll find out on Friday at 10 a.m. Just as a quick reminder, though, if you are interested in the Set Up Camp Buy It All bundle, the discount, there's a 10% discount that is available until Friday at noon Central Time. So if that's on your wish list and you'd like to save 10% on that bundle, you want to make sure you order before Friday at 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central. And if you're not so concerned about the 10%, you can wait, see what's coming up for the following week, and then maybe just combine your shipping or something like that. So it really just depends on how soon you want it. The Trail Punch did go out of stock, but Creative Memories is reordering it. They're kind of letting you do like a reservation. So you can buy it as part of this Buy It All bundle with the 10% off, or you can buy it individually. And what Creative Memories is doing is taking all of those, they're basically doing like a big IOU. You're reserving your punch for when the reorder comes in. It will not be available to order. The Trail Punch will not be available to order after the end of the month. I think it's like April 28th. So you're going to want to make sure if you want that punch that you've placed your order with Creative Memories. They will order it for you. They'll let you know when it comes in. And then the next time you order from Creative Memories, so later this summer after that punch comes in, they will include that punch in your order. Now, I do have some in stock. If you are hot to trot to have that punch sooner than later, reach out to me. I can definitely hook you up. Otherwise, put it in your order and you'll get it, have the opportunity to get it later this summer. So the other thing, I've had a few people reaching out asking about the next secret box. Now, I do not have any inside information on for sure when it's coming. I can only tell you what we did last year. So last year, the secret box was opened for the June crop. So that's 2 crops, virtual crops from now. So the second Friday in June is when that box was opened. I believe it became available sometime in May. I can't remember. I have to look whether it was early May or it was mid-May, probably closer to early May, that we might see details on the next secret box. So it's coming. But I don't have the timing for sure. And we know that sometimes that depends on the timing of Creative Memories getting the supplies or the products in from the through the supply chain. So that more information will be coming on that. There will be another secret box. Last year it was in June. I would anticipate somewhat the same for this year, but we'll know more as the weeks move on. And I think that's about all I've got for you guys. You guys may have saw this morning that Tessa and I announced we're going to have a beginning scrapbooking class on May 2nd. It's during the day. It's a Zoom crop. It is designed for beginner scrapbookers. And we're going to be working with a handout that Creative Memories has provided to advisors on a very beginner scrapbook page. But then Tessa and I are going to show you, we're going to show you how to do that page, how you can just use a trimmer and you can scrapbook to your heart's content. And then we're probably going to show you some ways that you can take it up the next level layering on some additional either tools or techniques. So, because we can't resist, right? We want to be able to show not just how simple it is, but also practical ways to be able to just bump it up a little bit. And so that's going to be May 2nd. And then of course, the following week, May 9th, is going to be our May Power Hour. So we will have Scrapbooking Live next week. I don't know the project we're going to do yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. Another product I wanted to highlight, and I'm hoping to have more details on it soon, Creative Memories has these wonderful paper 8x8 albums. If you guys have, I have a couple of, I did a video on the 8x8 album that I made for Cody. I used the Wanderlust and the Leave Nothing Behind. They're almost like fast to fab pages, right? There's these paper albums. You can do the paper album just like that. You can cut it apart and use those as 8x8 base pages. And that's what I did for Cody's album. Creative Memories has a whole new set of them that are out now that are ready to just order, add to your cart. They'll ship them to you with your order. Or this is where I really like, they have the custom option to make custom little 8x8 paper albums. I have a couple of those on order. I'm excited to get those in. I'm going to do one as a wedding, a little book, a little brag book for my mom from my brother's wedding. I'm working on something larger for my brother. He's going to get like a nicer full, not that I don't say nicer. He's going to get the full 12 by 12 where I wanted something for my mom. I can't have it be too big. She doesn't have a big wedding album for mine. I can't have my brother have like a bigger album in her shelf than my wedding album, right? So, get it. I'll be using the 8x8s, but you can custom make them. So I'm hoping to share a little bit more of that. In the coming weeks, maybe we'll have a separate Facebook Live that talks about the custom aspect of those paper albums because they're pretty cool. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you have a chance to get this layout put together. You can share it in, well, anywhere you want to share it. But if you share it in with Scrapbooking with Meggan, my Facebook group, go ahead and use the hashtag that's on the handout so that we can keep track of those. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. I hope you have a fabulous rest of the week. May spring come in beautiful for you. I know many of us are tired of winter. Some are really tired of snow. I'm tired of rain. I am definitely ready for some beautiful sunshine and what I call patio weather, right? We're ready to go sit in the sun. All right, take care, everybody. I will see you